Welcome to this edition to the CD Storm Show. Today we're going to be talking about domestic violence, but not the ordinary domestic violence where men are the perpetrators, but what's untalked about is how women are abusers of their spouse, physically, mentally, emotionally, and otherwise. And I have my distinguished young guest here today, and we're going to talk about it together. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Virgil, and I just want to let you know domestic violence is alive, just like racism is still alive.
Well, brother, it's a pleasure to have you on my show here. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. And so we're going to talk about this domestic violence thing, about how women abuse their men. Tell us what you know about that subject.
Well, what I have seen in my past and what I have acknowledged myself with being in relationships, a lot of women do abuse their spouse.
Yes, they do.
And the man himself, he tolerates it to a degree where he says to himself, I love the woman, what am I to do? What am I to do? Or he will take his, or he may take his backhand and hit her and think that's the right thing to do, and that's the wrong approach. Because a lot of these people have been in abusive relationships anyways, either coming up young in an abusive house, or being in an abusive relationship in a young age, you know.
So all sorts
which
of things
we used to
can
call
contribute.
being dogged out and stuff like that.
So
you
a
know
lot
what
of
I mean?
things contribute to women being abusive to men, is what you say?
Both,
Uh-huh.
on both sides, you know. Even decent, prominent people, man, you know, they try to control their emotions. It's an emotional thing. You know, it's a person that's mad and just expressing themselves, but then they got to the point where they have no control of themselves.
Well, if they start
So
physically.
that's a sickness.
Yes, it
when they
is.
start physically hitting another person.
Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that there's no such thing as a no good woman. Anywhere you find a no good woman, she has been made no good by a no good man. Because women by nature lean towards strength and righteousness. What is your take on that?
When I think about that, that is true, so true. But where it comes to a man being abused by his woman, okay, now that's the flip side right there. Because a man always wants to play that macho role
And don't want to talk about
and
it.
don't want to talk about it, you know, in front of friends or family and nothing like that. You know, he tries to solve the problem himself, but it's kind of hard to solve because it's an ongoing thing.
And you don't hear of men's groups that that help men that are being domestically abused by the women.
No, I
There's
have not.
Not many support groups out there for that.
No, they're not. No, they're not at all. But there's plenty of support group for women.
Yes.
I mean, where they're actually belittling the man, and maybe that's why a lot of other women deal with a woman. Oh, I'm tired of a man. I'd rather go deal with a woman. You know what I'm saying? Hey, there's so many different scenarios out there, what turns the people's minds around in dealing in a relationship. You know, because a woman may come out, you know, to a man, and she'll fight him like a natural man.
Mm-hmm.
Or you might have the timid one. You know what I'm saying? They back off, but then you get them in a corner, like getting a rat in the corner, come out fighting. You know, there's so many different scenarios out there. But in order for a relationship to work, there needs to be harmony and communication. Communication is the key factor. If you don't know how to communicate in a relationship, you need. Here's one thing that should be happening. You should find out who you are first.
Okay.
Get deep into yourself. Know what you want and how you want it. Because if you don't know yourself, how can you cater to another person?
You can't.
You can't.
It'd be very difficult.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. So get to know yourself first, but the way how the society is today, we jump into a relationship real quick. And even if we just got out of a relationship, we're jumping in another relationship just that quick.
That's it. And it could be. Are you in a relationship right now yourself?
Yes, I am. I am married.
You're
yes.
married.
Yes.
How long have you been married?
I've been married about roughly 4 years.
4 years now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how is that relationship going?
My relationship is fine to a degree, but like I said before, it's still about communication.
Sure.
If one communicates to one person and the other person's like shutting down, not really communicating, that's how, that there is what you would call
Lacks of communication.
Yes, it's called lack of communication, but it goes a little deeper than that. It's called destruction of a relationship.
Something has to be broken down.
You have to have communication.
Okay.
Communication is understanding.
And if one side is communicating and the other side is not communicating, what can one do? The one that's communicating has to find a way to get to that person. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And that's what everybody's been trying to figure out, in every relationship, how to do that. You got different counselings out there, marriage counsel. And even though they do deal with marriage counsel, some succeed with that. Or they deal with, it gets to the point where they either deal with a psychiatrist or whatever.
But it seems like today, when men come forth with that, they're often looked at as being weak and mild. When a man goes to a police
Being a
station,
wimp?
goes to the police station and says that his wife is beating on him, they start to snicker behind his back and laugh at him like there's something wrong. I guess that's what prevents men from stepping forth and saying that they're being abused by their woman, their spouse, girlfriend, or whatever.
I have seen that many times happen to men, even like these big old macho men like Suge Knight.
Okay.
It happens. It happens, believe me. And they'll start laughing at the person. Another man laughing at another man. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a good feeling, and that's not a pretty sight. Because emotionally, that's what at times that's what our women do to us. You know what I'm saying? They talk about us in that way, and it's embarrassing. Either do it out in public, hey, you know what I'm saying, all loud and everything else, where it's being broadcast out in the street. You want to crawl up underneath the rock or something like that, or else you're driving in a car and stuff like that, the woman's hitting all on you and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, while you're driving. Or so many different scenarios out there. So many things take place.
But there has to be a root key cause of domestic violence, and that's what I want to get to here on the CD Storm Show. We get down to the root key problem and try to find solutions for these.
Well, there needs to be a solution to it because there's so much of it going on. Because when a person gets arrested for domestic violence or a restraining order taken out on them for domestic violence, the way how the system is, they always look down at the man. They look at him as being the perpetrator.
Well, especially in this society, and that goes double for the black man here. they have always separated that family and used the women against the men. So now I see, and in this today's society, a woman, there's an unwritten law that the man has with the black woman. If he messes with you, you just call us. We'll come right over. And a lot of times I see that women take advantage of this and so ready to call the police on these domestic disputes. Whereas if she was thinking and had some of the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, she wouldn't even want to involve him in her business, and they would take care of it on their own. And
Well, I've seen this thing on Facebook, which was posted on Facebook by a police officer down south. He said, if he goes to a house, if there's domestic violence going on, you know what I'm saying? If it's the child and the mother, okay, he's okay with that. But if it's the husband and the wife, he said he'll shoot the husband.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all.
So what does that tell you right there? Society is really messed up. You know what I'm saying? There's so much violence going on, and it's domestic. And it happens, I mean, how many police officers in their own home have domestic violence going on?
It's growing rapidly.
It's a disease. It's a spiritual warfare. It's a spiritual thing going on right now, and it's very demonic.
Yes, I agree.
And that's what is going on. There's nothing godly about it. There's nothing angelic about it, you know, because people are out there. It's what does it say in the Bible? The enemy is out there to kill, steal, and destroy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the men should call in first? Does that make a difference?
Is that what?
Yeah. If a man's in a relationship and it's going sour and there's getting ready to be potential danger in there, shouldn't he call first?
Well,
The police?
either he should leave out,
Okay.
let them calm down, come back later. If it
That's my advice.
succeed,
Leave
that's
the
my
house.
advice. And if it succeeds anymore, he is to, I mean, if it gets physical, okay, that's what he should do.
When is it time to call it quits?
When is it time to call it quits? When they stop either pulling the knife on you, trying to hurt you, really seriously hurt you physically, it's time to call it quits. They want to stab you or
Well,
shoot
there's got to be
you,
signs to
or-
lead
or-
up to that.
or
I don't think
or
that's the
throw
time.
hot water on you.
I don't think that's the time to quit. It should be before that because there's got to be signs leading up to a knife coming at you. You know, unless it's out of the clear blue sky. You know, quitting time is before the knife. You
Well,
gotta
that's what.
read
Well,
the signs.
well, that's why I had said, if you cannot. That's what I mentioned earlier about communication.
Mm-hmm.
If she got that block up there, she ain't listening. That's where it's leading to.
I know a lot of people
So-
talk to you. I know a lot of people talk to you, and we have talked previously about this very subject, and I know you have some knowledge about it. Has any young man come to you personally with problems of this domestic abuse?
No,
No.
young men, no, but I've seen a lot of young men. You know, I don't know really know what's going on. That's why I observe, because you may see a person, you know, a little domestic dispute going on verbally and stuff like that. You may hear the woman calling the man a punk and everything else, which is her man and stuff like that. And then out in public, everybody's watching. She may not be the victim. He could be the victim just because he did something to get her a little ticked off, you know what I'm saying? And that happens a lot too.
But to me, it all goes back to communication.
Yes, it
and
does.
understanding. And when you're in a relationship, you have to sit down and you have to talk. You have to know likes and dislikes, and you have to, you know, work at them because it's a constant thing that you have to work on.
Yes,
and when
sir.
things go wrong, just don't go with them. You know.
That is so true. But then when you get caught up in that system in the courthouse behind domestic violence, restraining order and stuff like that, the first thing the judge does when you go in that courtroom, or if it's a female judge, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how they deal with it. I know how they deal with it. They look at you, oh, another one. You know.
Well, the women they'll side with a woman, but not in all cases when there's evidence.
It's not in
that's
all
showing-
cases, no. But then it's just like if a brother goes in court, you know what I'm saying? They'll look at him, and especially if it's an interracial relationship, they'll look at him, oh.
Yes, I know how they'll look at that. When a black man is married to a white woman, then the odds is stacked triple up against him if she's taking him to court for some domestic violence. I don't care if he's got the hatchet in his head when he goes to court. When he goes there, he in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. A person will be a lover of themselves. If you see a person in the mirror all the time, you know, just like a woman, or a woman doing the same thing, they're lovers of themselves. So
Well,
if
then
they're
when you have-
lovers,
when you have-
lovers of themselves, man, they're not showing no one else no love.
Okay. Now this domestic violence, where it is where the woman is the perpetrator against the man, what can the man do to protect himself?
Walk away. Turn his back on it, walk away. Because if you entertain it, you're going to get yourself frustrated. Then you're going to escalate the voice right along with her.
Walk away and do what? Because you just
You
said
gonna
a little
walk
while
away-
ago he's involved in his family, so he can't walk away. You understand? Because he's got his kids there and he's got this going on, and so he
What I
can't
mean by
walk away.
brother, go to a friend's house or just walk in the park. Come back in an hour or two
You hear that, guys?
till the heat cools off. But if you walk back in there and the heat's still on, you got to take a walk. Or you just deal with your kids, let them have understanding what's going on if you do have children. Just say, Daddy got to take a walk. And I'm saying, not telling them the whole detail. Yeah, me and your mama ain't getting along. You know what I'm saying? That makes it bad on them. You know.
Yes. You don't never
So-
want to bring the children into,
Right.
your affairs like that,
And that's
Well,
why
I know me growing up, I've never ever seen my mother and my father fight one another. It would I would hear the little starts about it, and then it would be a like wait till the children go to sleep kind of action. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of like kept us always balanced. I've always seen my mother and my father talk things out and work it. I guess that's why I am how I am. Because that's what I have seen as a child.
Mm-hmm.
When these women abuse their men, something serious has going on in their past.
Yes.
They've been abused by somebody in their family, and then substance abuse always plays a part in it. And when combined with abuse, then it makes for a terrible situation. And a
Or
lot
else
of
they've
times-
seen with their own eyes a child. A lot of parents don't pay attention what their kids are watching and stuff like that, on television, or what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is Uncle Leroy and stuff like that. They ain't Uncle Leroy. You know what I'm saying? It's always something, you know what I'm saying, that gets a child angry, and then when they grow up, okay, that plays a part in their life. They're angry. And that's where all this domestic violence comes from, anger. They're trying to be normal. They want
in an
everybody.
unnormal world.
Everybody wants normalcy,
In
but
an unnormal
in
world.
an unnormal world, right? That's why I said society the way how it is. There's like police officers. I mean, they think they have a great relationship. This is my wife, but you know, I mean, I had a police officer buddy, and God rest his soul, he took his wife out with his own service revolver. He emptied it inside her in the bathtub.
I've heard of stories like that.
Yes.
I've heard of stories like that. Deep emotional problem.
But they try to make it look like it's the Leave It to Beaver life, you know, the white picket fence, you know, the cat and the dog in the yard and stuff like that, you know. It doesn't always turn out that way, you know, and that's the brainwashing of television too.
Well, what about domestic violence when it's an interracial couple? We don't talk about that much in the society, but when a white man is with a black woman, and you don't never hear too many stories about black women beating on white men, but you hear a lot of stories about white women bringing black men to court for domestic violence, and then a black man was surely catching some serious problems.
No,
with
he
that.
catch some heat. Yeah,
More than
yeah.
a black on black relationship. The interrelationships with mixed couples, when that gets into abusive relationship, it turns really, really nasty, because there's very little sympathy for the black man. Do you agree?
I do agree, because racism still is alive. And not saying that the woman's racist and stuff like that. She already knows how this system is. So it's the system itself that's racist. Play each race against each other. And that's what it is. Mm-hmm. So when you're dealing with a racist judge, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of these judges, and I'm not insulting the judge and stuff like that, they're supposed to have good wits. They're supposed to be real smart and be able to see through things. But then they're always rushing things because, you know, they have so many cases to deal with. I understand their situation. I understand where they're coming from on that. Mm-hmm. But, excuse me.
See, that's your wife calling you now, huh?
We're on air.
Did it say something about she was going to beat you?
Hello? Hello? Yeah. I'm on air right now. I'm still at the station.
You only gonna see this on a CD store show, I swear. You ain't gonna see this nowhere else. His woman called him on right now and told me he better be home in 30 minutes. I heard her.
He lying.
Okay, hey, say brother, we got a couple more minutes here.
But
and,
but back to that again. Okay, a lot of brothers, when it comes to interracial marriage, I wouldn't care if it was Chinese, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to a white person, especially in this here country, or even in Europe, some parts of Europe, they're racist against black, you know? But that's why they catch hell. Because if you look how what are the jails filled up with? A lot of brothers.
Yes, a large percentage.
A lot of brothers.
Black, Latino, and
but then, you know.
Poor whites.
Right. Now, if you want to look at it, you know, they're always arresting. And then you watch on the news. In these, you know, respectable towns and stuff like that, someone being robbed and stuff like that, with murders and stuff like that. It was a white person murdering somebody. You know what I'm saying? A white person. But then in Boston, it's black on black crime. these young kids killing each other, you know?
Well, it's not only in Boston, it's in every major city in the United States. Black on
Yes,
black
but
crime is rising.
But we're in Massachusetts, and that's
Yes.
why I mentioned Boston.
I
you know what I'm
see.
saying? In the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? But you go to Melrose or places like that, you know what I'm saying? You
Well,
know,
there's not many blacks out there for black on black crime rising. But listen here, sir. I'm gonna have to have you back, and we have to do a part two because this can go on and on and on. But for the viewing audiences that's looking at you now, I want you to give some advice, and I want you to give some advice on domestic affairs and what should a brother do if he's in a domestic relationship. In our closing
this is what I
statements.
suggest for a man to do is walk away. If don't have conflict, because that's what will turn into a conflict, walk away. We're supposed to be the man, the bigger person in the situation, instead of acting like a little high school kid. And that's my suggestion for a man to do is walk away. Now, if you can hold an intelligent, respectful conversation with the spouse or whoever, that's great. You can work things out because you both are listening. You know, give her time to talk. Let her give you time to talk. That's a decent conversation.
I like that.
You can make headway.
I like that.
But if you cannot do it, if she does not do it that way, or if he cannot do it that way, it's time to take a walk.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you again for coming on my show. And I don't want you to go nowhere because there's a part two of the CD Storm Show, and we will be right back.